I have a very important question. Who is the enemy? Throughout American history, at different points in time, we would say communists are the enemy, or Nazis, or Islamo-fascists. But who really is the enemy? Who was it that financed each of these entities?
Forward! March!
So here we have hundreds of former military veterans in Washington marching in formation, protesting the Federal Reserve Bank. To these former veterans, the Federal Reserve is the enemy. The bankers are the enemy. And why is that? Because the bankers finance both sides of war.
These same European bankers financed both sides of the Civil War in this country. You don't even know that. Same bankers, same families, financed both sides of the Civil War.
Usury, the bankers' secret war on humanity. Unconventional warfare not discussed in college, church, the media, or Congress. The purpose of this presentation is so that we're no longer duped to hate, avoid World War III, and C, to understand that monetary reform is the key to our emancipation. Key concepts? Number 1, sovereignty versus usurpation. 2, how the banksters corrupted the money system. And 3, understanding unconventional warfare. Let's start off with sovereignty versus usurpation. Who do we really serve? The war propaganda that we're taught from kindergarten on is that we the people vote for representatives, that we the people are the sovereigns, that we're in charge. The truth is the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. And I don't know about you, I don't own a gold mine, and I don't own a Federal Reserve printing press. From the Bible it says in Proverbs 22:7, borrower is slave to the lender. That means the creditors are the sovereigns, and the debtors are the slaves. The creditors are in charge. That matches with what the Federal Reserve Chairman says when he is asked the question, what's the proper relationship between a President of the United States and the Chairman of the Federal Reserve?
What is the proper relationship? What should be the proper relationship between a Chairman of the Fed and a President of the United States?
Well, first of all, the Federal Reserve is an independent agency, and that means basically that there is no other agency of government which can overrule actions that we take.
The Federal Reserve Chairman says there is no agency of government which can overrule actions that we take. That means the President, for all of his imperial power and majesty that we see on the TV, he has no capacity to overrule actions that the Chairman of the Federal Reserve makes. That means the bankers are in charge. Usurpation. Noun, illegal seizure and occupation of a throne, position of authority. Usurpation is what's happened to the United States of America, in fact, all of planet Earth. The usurpers are acting as earthly gods. They've illegally seized and occupied the throne of God and our government. And you know, history repeats. And that means the victors or the usurpers write the history. So what we learn in school is actually a version of history taught by the usurpers. They teach us that these wars are collisions between different economic systems. There's a collision between fascism and capitalism, and communism and fascism and capitalism. All these different systems are warring on each other. What they don't tell you is that the bankers financed all of these different systems. The true history of the world is that history is the story of slavery and emancipation. And that story of slavery and emancipation is the story of the bankers enslaving humanity, and that story of emancipation from slavery is our Jubilee. Each of the ancient prophets forbid usury. Moses, Joshua, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha. Irrespective of whatever your religious inclination is, each of the prophets forbid usury. Well, what does usury mean exactly? If you read a dictionary, it says excessive interest. If you read a Bible, it says any interest. But the definition of usury from practical application means it's the banksters' usurpation of the money system, so that the money system becomes a weapon of slavery. Number 2, how the banksters corrupted the money system. In order to understand how money was corrupted, we have to first understand specifically the definition of money and how money naturally evolved from barter. We all agree that money is just an extension of barter. Let's watch the chicken note. The chicken note. How money was invented, then later hijacked by the banksters. Once upon a time, there was no such thing as money. Then, a chicken farmer invented it by accident. Woefully, his invention was later stolen by scheming banksters. Before money, the chicken farmer would simply barter whole chickens for things he needed at the market. He bartered chickens for fish, flowers, cupcakes, and vegetables. Everyone knew that one barter equals 2 IOUs. I owe you 1 chicken, you owe me 1 fish. I owe you 1 chicken, you owe me a bunch of flowers. I owe you 1 chicken, you owe me a bunch of cupcakes. I owe you 1 chicken, you owe me a bunch of vegetables. Everyone was happy, and this went on for years. But then one day the chicken farmer was at the market and he discovered a grand basket that he wanted for his wife. Sadly, he realized he had no chickens to trade. Then he remembered, 1 barter equals 2 IOUs. The barter could be 1 written chicken IOU and you owe me 1 basket. This would be a barter just with a small delay. Then he said, would you, dear weaver, accept my written and signed IOU in exchange for the basket? You can accept my rain check IOU as a marker for now, until I return tomorrow, and you can redeem my IOU for a chicken. The weaver carefully considered the written IOU a chicken as part of a delayed barter. Then he agreed. Snap! The chicken farmer just invented money in the form of a chicken note. News of the chicken note spread quickly. Because the other farmers market vendors knew the chicken farmer, they began accepting the chicken note as well. Later, other vendors began issuing their own IOU notes as well. Producers of all sorts of products issued and redeemed their own self-issued IOU money. The community had a completely independent, barter-based, abundant money supply. There was no unemployment and plenty of money to build roads. Their local economy thrived and the town grew quickly. The chicken note would be the inspiration of millions of other types of IOU money, currency issued by modern producers. Restaurant gift certificates, grocery store coupons, airline frequent flyer miles, daily deals, sports and concert tickets, and even Valentine's Day gifts from blushing high school boys to their girlfriends. A digital form of IOU money operates as mutual credit and time banks. So long as producers issue paper and digital IOU money, it's a form of sound money. We never need to accumulate unpayable debts, suffer from scarce money, pay interest, or inflation. The technology of money serves humanity rather than dominates. If only we could issue our own self-issued IOU money to pay bank loans, utilities, gasoline, and taxes. Do you know why we can't? Because scheming banksters deliberately counterfeited and corrupted our own independent money in what many believe to be the world's first false flag incident. The banksters pretended to be the chicken farmer and then overissued the chicken note so that they became impossible to redeem for chickens. Then they created their own monopoly money, which only they can issue. Sadly, we are forced to buy and sell with their monopoly money, or else it would be nearly impossible to live. Worse, the banksters' monopoly money is created with interest. This makes money perpetually scarce, which makes our lives even more difficult. Additionally, the banksters mostly create new money for things they support, like war, stormtrooper police, poisonous food, puppet politicians, and mind-controlled media. Deceptive media, which never properly explains the simple genius of the chicken note. Woefully today, small chicken farmers and their hard-working friends at the market are typically broke, even though they do the most important jobs. Meanwhile, the corrupt bankers and their complicit friends are loaded, all because the power of money has been hijacked from regular people.
So I hope that video was enlightening. And that begs the question, why is counterfeiting illegal exactly? Well, what the counterfeiter is doing is they're creating pieces of paper or digits in the form of money so that they can steal the commercial energy of the producers. Well, who is it that are the producers? Well, the producers are regular people who create products and services for other regular people. Well, in this economic system of usury usurpation, the bankers are actually counterfeiting our chicken notes or our IOUs. The bankers are counterfeiting our money system. They're living parasitically off of our commercial energy.
Do you see that we've been taken captive? That's all I'm trying to... My whole point, somebody asked me, Pastor, why are you sharing that? My whole point is to let you know you're in bondage and don't know it. You're serving two masters and you don't know it. They are using you and you don't know it.
The reason that Federal Reserve notes have value isn't because of the bankers, it's because of us. It's our energy and belief and faith in the money system that gives the Federal Reserve notes value. It's not because of a couple bankers that the Federal Reserve notes have power. It's because of our belief. What's powerful to understand with this system of parasitism of our commercial energy is to realize that the bankers don't even need taxes, they don't need votes or our consent or a majority of the people. They can simply issue brand new Federal Reserve notes and they can finance counterintelligence operations, they can finance war, they can do whatever they want without taxes, without votes, without consent. This makes them earthly gods. With a tiny minority, they rule over humanity, systematically stealing our commercial energy through the money system, with the majority of the population completely unrealizing that their commercial energy is being stolen